I grew up in Peoria, Illinois, hometown of Richard Pryor. I think I was a good kid. I mean, I did some stupid shit growing up. Who the fuck hasn't? Like, but I was a good kid. I grew up raised primarily by my mom and my grandparents. My grandmother was kind of the law, you know? I didn't really do shitty things until I was like a teenager, and that just kind of comes with the territory. And like, I never was a problem, I don't think, to my parents, because I paid attention to them enough to know how to be smart enough to not get caught. I know I used to want to really belong to something, or like just feel part of something bigger, and I still do, I guess, even though I am, you know, I have a family, you know. My mom always played the Police, Simon and Garfunkel, mainly the Police all the time. That's my biggest memory. Fleetwood Mac, just like, you know, your standard 70s, 80s stuff, like All Notes, which I still love all that stuff. And I liked music a lot. Like, it resonated with me, and I remember like following songs and like trying to see the picture, the little movie that went along with it. And it was fun. It was kind of like skateboarding or surfing, you know, like just like following a tune. But it wasn't until I think I was about 14 that it just exploded, and it just was like, because I was skateboarding. Started skateboarding I think at 13, and then I got this video, Streets on Fire by Santa Cruz skateboards, and the soundtrack's completely phenomenal. Like Black Flag, Sonic Youth, Minutemen, Fire Hose, Blast, you name it. This is before I had a stereo or anything or records, and I would just blast it on my grandparents' TV, Nana Pop, and I would skate on the sidewalk and just put the VHS in and like try to hear it over the Cocoa Black. And it just all came together to me like, holy shit, this is a real thing. Like seeing like the skateboarders and seeing and understanding that this isn't Journey, this isn't Fleetwood Mac, these are like fucking people that are like raging, and that's possible to do. And I'm just like, and I just ate it all up as much as I could. I don't really like follow music so much, but when shit excites me, it like just really excites, like I get charged, like I'm ready to wrestle. When I was about 17, I got my first bass. I started a band and wrote a record within a year. I was like, I gotta do this. I just found some guys that were as dumb as me, and we just did it. Tried that for a little bit, and then I was like done with it because I felt so like, just like, oh man, I'm just not good enough. I don't cut the mustard, you know, like I don't chalk up. And then my buddy Aaron Wise, our first bass player, he was a year or two younger than me. He's like, I'm a really big like fan of like the stuff you were doing with your old band and stuff. And I was like, really? You know, it's so bad. You know, he's like, no, let's do something. And then I think we all just fell into our own skin, you know, and just sort of, we resonated with ourselves, and we didn't really give a shit what anybody else thought, because we all thought we were rad. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like, fuck it. All the bullshit that comes with like playing and touring and being in a band and being like a commodity, like having records, all that bullshit aside, the 45 minutes that we play every night is really like, it's fucking beautiful to me. Like, it's like church, if I gave a shit about that kind of stuff. It's my church. I wrote a line a lot of years ago, 14 years ago, called "We live in the seconds between a swing and a hit." And like, I'm just stoked to be living and swinging, you know? So I'm not looking forward to hitting the ground. I was having a grumpy night a couple nights ago, and my wife texted me, just play from the heart. And I immediately was able to text her, have I ever done it any other way? You know? And I'm fucking stoked to play from the heart. And when I'm not playing from the heart, then I'll quit. And that's that. Pray to me seems like a continuation of Mercy, in the sense that it answered a lot of the it's like just kind of bookend. It answered a lot of the narratives that were going on in Mercy. With Mercy and Guts, I thought I was just being clever, like writing clever lyrics. I didn't understand that I predestined my whole life and that they were all true stories. With Pray, I went into it, even though I was a little cuckoo, I went into it knowing purposely what every song was about for me, like from a lyrical standpoint, what exactly this meant. Because all the other records I just didn't find out until recently, like, oh fuck, duh, Praise. I did it with intent. And that's another thing that, like, I think with age, like, that I've learned, like, do everything you do with intent. Do every kind thing you do with intent. Do every shitty thing you do with intent, or don't do it at all. You know? If you walk a path with intent, then it makes you think a little bit more about what the fuck you're doing. You know? Like, so Pray, very much for me, had intent. Even though I was crazy at the time. Like, I was like, that's what I was, another one of those things that was popping around in my head was with intent, you know? And I'd be curious to see, like, if it would have sounded much different had I been not whacked out, you know? Which makes me curious to see what the next record might look like, or sound like. Well, look like. See? That's how I look at it all. It looks like something. It's a thing. It's its own being. And, you know, like, I'm curious. I want to do another thing, you know? I hope that it's with Planes. If not, there'll be something, you know? I just I don't want to overthink it, but I want to make sure it's with intent again, but with a sounder mind, you know?